Getting set for challenge number 4, the logs. This is the only challenge where the engine is turned off and everybody uses the same GS 800.
Kickstands, anything.
Gotta stay between the red.
And so we look at the first of our competitors, Clint McBride, as he goes for it. As he tries to push it across, that will not work. He scatters the logs. Now he's got to pick up that motorcycle that's sitting on top of those logs, and he will have to get it across and in between those yellow cones, and he does complete the run, but this one is timed, and I think that's going to cost him.
It will, and it did, Pat. But what was fascinating is all of the competitors were sequestered. Here's a different approach. Push the logs towards the big one, and then muscle it over. Much easier.
Mark Chartrand parked his bike, arranged the logs, and that was pretty good technique.
Very smart.
Here's some of the other riders in the detention area. They're not allowed to look at the course, as we see Eric Russell of the Fundy Adventure Rally. That's where our national finals will be held. And now we look at Kevin Beatty, and he's going to try to ride it off. Again, the engine is not running, and he scatters those logs, and he's hung up on those logs.
But look at the strength and determination. Just muscled that bike through.
Well, here is one that may get the award for most creative. He is going to play lumberjack and just push those logs away, and now gets back on his motorcycle. This is Amir Durst, the Scottish technique, as we call it. He will push and paddle through the cones. Little different approach.
That was what was fascinating to me, Pat, is watching the brain work of different riders that figure out how to do this.
Here is our points leader, Jamie Jones, and it looks like Jones is limping a little bit. He'll put the last of the logs in position. Another rider looking to build a ramp is the way to get through this course.
This was painful for me to watch, Pat, because Jamie broke his leg 3 months ago, so the fact that he's even here is amazing. But to see him pushing a heavy bike was remarkable.
Oh, he gets it over those logs and through the cones. He will complete his run. And now we look at Arthur, and Arthur does not have a good time there, as he just tried to bully the bike over the logs. And now we look at Brent McKee, and he is going to push, he's going to stop, and he's going to adjust the logs.
And this is a technique, Pat, that we would use in adventure riding. A tree's down, you can't get over the height of it. Get a couple of other logs or rocks and make a little ramp.
Now he's going to back it up here. He's going to push the bike, trying to get it up and over. He does through the pylons to complete his run. And now we get set for Martin Amel. Here's a different kind of technique. He's found some room between the logs and the pylons, and that could very well be our fastest run. Now, was that run legal based on the rules of this challenge? As we look at the officials there having a bit of a discussion.
Well, you can see Patrice is laughing because he's almost congratulating Martin in taking advantage of the rules. We just said you have to be between those pylons. So he only had a couple of inches there, but he used it, and it gave him the best time, Pat.
And look at that time, 8.8 seconds. Kevin Beatty, Chartrand, Rona Wecke, and Clint McBride in your top 5. Not a good challenge for our overall points leader, Jamie Jones.
What'd you think of that run?
That was good. Good thinking on that guy.
Yeah, thank you.
Hang on, let me
How'd you
get
come
my
up with the
gear.
strategy?
I close my eye and pushing the harder I can.
So as we reach the halfway point, it is Jamie Jones on top, but with that 7th place finish, it is really tightened up. In fact, we've got a tie for second between Arthur Rona Wecke and Clint McBride, followed in fourth by Martin Amel. Then we've got a tie for 5th. Mark Chartrand, Steve Maxwell, both at 120 points. Brent McKee, Kevin Beatty, Amir Dorst, and Steve Boulanger round out the top 10. Number 5, the pit, and it is Jamie Jones with the lead as we go to one of the most difficult challenges on the day.
Difficult is right, Pat. This is really technical. Not only is there deep sand, mud, water, but we've got very steep hills with wet, slippery grass.
And there you see, you don't want to lay the motorcycle down there in that circular mud pit, as you were able to get through that section and demonstrate to the riders exactly what they would be facing. Now we look at Arthur Ronawecki, currently sitting just 15 points back. And he's got a problem here, Clinton, hung up on that big rock right in the middle of the turn.
Yeah, I think, Pat, it was a little target fixation that hung him up. Now he's struggling on the hill.
And the bike goes down, so Ronawecki needing to get some help to push that big BMW 1200 RS up to the top of the hill so he can get going again. Now, this is a treacherous section with all of that rain. This downhill grass section is very, very difficult. What are you doing in terms of brake? Is it more front than rear brake?
It is more front, Pat. You can see the back end slid out there because he had too much rear brake. All your weight transfers forward.
And now he makes his way into that tiger pit, and it looks like it's almost 3 feet deep.
It is. He almost watered out here.
And here he is. He's got his foot down. That'll be another point deduction. Arthur Ronawecki looking to complete this run and move up on Jamie Jones. He's just 15 points back, as we said, but he's losing a lot of time and points here in the pit.
You can also think, Pat, of the energy it's taken to pick the bike up, to keep going, to push off with your legs when it gets stuck.
There he is. There's at least one, maybe two more deductions, and another one there. So he's going to have quite a few deductions.
And here's Steve Belanger. Watch this, Pat. He doesn't quite have the momentum at the top. Oh, and a fall right on the rock.
Ooh, that's got to hurt. We'll see if there's any damage to the motorcycle. And now we go to Clint McBride, tied for second with Ronawecki, and there are some penalty points that he's going to get every time he dabs that left foot going through this section. It's going to cost him another point, but that's better than putting it into the water, crashing the bike, and losing 5 points.
Exactly. But the secret here is keep your head up, keep that momentum going.
And he will complete the run. Now we go with Brent McKee, as he is having a bit of a problem here now into that tiger pit. There you can see how deep it is, and he just submarines that BMW into the tiger pit. Now how do you pick up that motorcycle? With much difficulty, as we saw there. But there's 5 points, and that, I think, is going to really cost him here.
It will, but amazingly, that bike didn't water out. He fired it up and got it out of there.
And now it looks like that front wheel is really stuck in the mud. He does get it out of there and has still another section to go as we go to Kevin Beattie. Here's his uphill run, cleanly through there, and now the downhill. And he's about to make that right-hand turn into the tiger pit. And there's another rider caught out by that treacherous tiger pit.
It's really tough in there, Pat. You need momentum, but if you're going too fast, you'll lose that front end, as Steve and Kevin both illustrated.
And there is Kevin Beattie still trying to muscle that BMW R1200 GSA out of the tiger pit. He's back on the motorcycle. Looks like the bike is still running. But again, that is going to cost them an awful lot of points. As Clinton, you were right there trying to give him a bit of a hand to complete the run.
Yeah, we look at it philosophically, Pat. The time has been ticking for so long. He's out of the running. Let's help him get out of there. Camaraderie's part of this.
Well, of course, that tiger pit got a whole lot deeper. And here is problems for Kevin Beattie, as Beattie once again lays it down. That's another 5-point deduction.
And you can imagine, Pat, fatigue is now setting in. He's dropped it a couple of times. It's getting heavier and heavier each time he picks it up.
And now we look at Mark Chartrand as he begins his run uphill. Now down through the bottom of the hill, preparing to run through that Tiger Pit Clinton. And oh, he's got a problem. Leans the motorcycle over. Luckily, he got it out of the pit, lays it down on the grass. This will be a little bit easier than trying to pull it out of that mud pit.
Exactly, Pat. He had the momentum, has just lost the front end right at the end, but he's continuing.
Mark Chartrand looking to put in a solid run here. The Montreal rider aboard that 2015 F800 GS as he is about to complete his run, and we'll see where he ends up in terms of demerit points. Now we go back to Amir Durst out of Toronto. As we said, perhaps the most inexperienced of the riders here in our top 10 from yesterday going into the final qualifying, but doing a pretty good job here on that uphill section, and now he begins the run into the Tiger Pit. We'll see if he's able to get through there, and he does. That's a great job for a rider with just 4 years of experience. And now we go back to Jamie Jones, and Jones is having a bit of a problem.
Yeah, Jamie had almost the right momentum, but again, the front end and those big ruts the other guys have made. But look, Pat, at the line he's taking. He went where other riders didn't, which made it a lot easier, less ruts.
So Jones completes the run, and we look at Martin Amel on the 650. Is the 650 the bike to have here? It's very light, the lightest of all of the motorcycles as he prepares to run through that Tiger Pit, and he gets through there very quickly. He may be on one of the better runs here this afternoon in Challenge 5.
Yeah, he's definitely got skill, but it is a little easier for him on the smaller bike, Pat.
And so our results of Stage 5 of the BMW GS Challenge. The win goes to Martin Amel, just 14 demerit points. Clint McBride with 16 in second. Jamie Jones, a better run there, finishes third. Arthur Ronowecki, and then Mark Chartrand rounds out our top 5. So at the top of the leaderboard, it's still Jamie Jones as he has opened up a 10-point advantage on Clint McBride. Arthur Ronowecki in third, Hamel and Chartrand rounding out your top 5. And then let's have a look. Challenge number 6, the Tree Slalom coming up, and this is a course that has been made much more difficult with the rains overnight. Some of these trails were pretty dry yesterday. They're certainly not so today.
Absolutely, Pat. I would guess the timing doubled. For instance, you'll see Mark here does really well until he loses the front end. It's very greasy.
Oh, you can see him just plowing that motorcycle as he went through that section. Now he tries to pick it back up. Chartrand, this is going to cost him an awful lot of time. If you're quick, you should be able to get through this in about a minute, and it looks like he's going to be well over a minute. He is rolling again, but that one fall there I think is going to cost him any kind of a top finish here in this challenge number 6.
And here's Kevin Pat on an R1200 GSA. Tentative going in, but although the time is ticking, he's not dropping it because it's extremely greasy.
Kevin Beattie out of Coldwater, Ontario. Now we go with Arthur Ronowecki. And Arthur has been putting in some solid rides here today and looking to pick up another top finish that might move him a little bit closer to our overall points leader, Jamie Jones. And we look at Brent McKee on his R1200 GSA. That bike has got to be a handful through these slick trails as he makes his way through that hairpin left-hand turn now to the right, and having to put his foot down to try to balance that motorcycle through that slick turn. Now we go with Clint McBride on the F800 GS. Clint is right there, and remember, the top 3 riders at the end of it all, they'll go on to the national final in New Brunswick, so Clint trying to hold on to one of those top 3 finishes.
And here's Jamie Jones. You'll see the trial skills and enduro skills come into play here, Pat. Speed is good, but he slows down when it gets greasy.
And remember, he is not 100%. having broken his leg just 4 months ago, but he does take the win here. Less than a minute, 58.1. Ronowecki, followed by McBride. And so after 6 of 8 events in the BMW Motorrad GS Challenge, it is Jamie Jones out of Brantford, Ontario on top with 255 points. Clint McBride right behind at 235. Arthur Ronowecki sits third. Then Martin Amel from Quebec fourth. Marc Chartrand in fifth. Brent McKee, Kevin Beattie, Steve Maxwell, Amir Durst, and Steve Boulanger round out the top 10.
Now the Ravine Challenge, Pat, was really exciting. Again, because of the rain, the degree of difficulty went way up.
Points leader Jamie Jones won his 4th stage challenge of the day with a solid run. Clint McBride came home in second. Arthur Ronowecki was third. Brett McKee in fourth. And Martin Amel still with a shot of becoming one of the top 3 riders. So we go to our final stage challenge, Zig Zag, where the riders face a daunting task of getting through a very tight section here through the woods.
Yes, Pat, this was a section where the participants cursed me afterwards. Physically, these bikes don't have the turning radius to get around these tight corners, so the riders got to be creative. Put your foot down, lean it over, and launch it to spin the back tire around, or do the 7-point turn.
Here is Steve Maxwell as he gets a little bit wide in the turn, trying to weave his way through there. And now we go with Clint McBride, currently sitting second, within striking distance of the overall points leader, Jamie Jones, but he's going to need to have a very quick run through this final Zig Zag challenge.
Now look at how tight this is, Pat. It's so easy if you don't have the momentum to get hung up on those pine logs and the mud that's just underneath the needles.
And now we look at our overall points leader, Jamie Jones, going after his 5th stage win as he works his way through on that F800 GS. Jamie Jones out of Brantford, Ontario. He's been very consistent in the top 5. And he lays it over. Didn't break the tape, but now he's got to get back under that tape. That's going to be 5 seconds if you break the tape. And right now he's trying to get back onto that motorcycle and continue, but he's losing some precious time here as he chases some of the earlier faster times.
Yes, you can see what falling does. Broke his rear turn signal, but I would have just given up. He kept going after that hard fall.
And the results of stage challenge number 8, Zig Zag. The win goes to Arthur Ronowecki on that big BMW 1200. It is Jamie Jones home in second. That should be enough to give him the overall championship here. Marc Chartrand, Martin Amel, Clint McBride in 5th. Then it is Steve Maxwell, Brett McKee, Kevin Beattie, Steve Boulanger, and Amir Durst in this final challenge. So, as we look at the overall point standings of the GS Challenge here in Ontario, Jamie Jones with the overall win, 350 points. Arthur Ronowecki with his win here in the final stage moves up to second, just 10 points clear of Clint McBride, who will hold on to that 3rd and final ticket to the BMW Motorrad GS Challenge National Finals coming up in New Brunswick. And there's a look at our top 3 riders. Jamie Jones, along with the 2nd place finisher there, Arthur Ronowecki, and of course Clint McBride coming home in 3rd. All 3 of those riders getting congratulations from Eric Russell with the Fundy Adventure Rally. They'll be heading to New Brunswick to do battle to see if maybe one of those riders will be heading to Mongolia in June of 2018. It's just been a tremendous day here at the Horseshoe Valley Resort.
Are they going to get to go to Mongolia?